Okay, 186. Yeah. Yeah, I had to fix the audio. So a while ago I went to their store, I told you, and I went and I got this box that is as tall as like a wine bottle. You're supposed to put a wine bottle in it, but it looks like an armoire. I don't know French. Anyways, it's that kind of shape, and but it's as tall and like kind of skinny, so I don't know what I can fit in it. That would be good to put in it. But I want to take a photo for inspiration, but also maybe to send to my friend and be like, hey, what should I put in here? Every photo I took of it with its lid open was blurry, and when it was the lid was closed, it was fine. Why? Why? Like, why? Because it makes no sense. Why was every single one with the lid open blurry the next day? And it was very funny to me because it was just like, dude, are you haunted by like a ghost of a wine? Why are you like this, buddy? Anyways, I don't know why my thrift stores around here have those boxes. I didn't even know those existed. I really didn't. But maybe I'm just not in the wine fandom enough. You know, maybe other people knew it existed, because clearly people do. But I'm like non-wine people. Like, I kind of want to know if like my aunt, who's a wine person, why are there boxes for wine? You know, it's like, is it only when you bring it to someone's house? Do you keep it in your house and you put your wine in it? Well, and like put it up on a shelf? Why? Because like there's wine racks. You know, like wine cabinets. There's wine cabinets. My aunt has a wine fridge, which is a separate fridge just for wine that they want cold. So what's up with a box for wine? You know? Because if it's like for in your house and you have multiple wines, you know, but if you only have one wine and then but you have a box, but anyways, but then is this supposed to be for when you bring it over to someone's house? Do you bring your box back? Do you give the box? What's going on? And the only reason why I want to say it might be for bringing things, because some of them have a little knob on top to like hold it, like a little ring that you can hold it by. But if you had to have a full wine bottle in it, it would be too heavy, I think, to carry it. Anyways, I bought it for a pair of pants, like at the same price as a pair of pants. So, yeah, don't know. Don't know. So it was very funny that it was very, everything, like, give it, I only took, like 5 photos total of the box, but like I took a few of them, like open, closed, and then like open and then, or closed, open, and then I moved it to get better lighting, and then open and closed. But why was it blurry? I don't know. Like, it was really blurry. It was like I friggin' was twirling my phone like upside down. And I'm like, you know, like I'm not, I move it and you click, move it and click, move it, click, you know? It's like, I know how to take a photo, but anyways, but continuing on was, Oh, anyways, yeah, I was watching, and I think I mentioned it, I don't know, was when, Ethan was watching TikToks or videos people sent to him that are supposed to be their favorites. What happened was Ethan was like looking at one. He's like, "Oh, I used to have that shirt," and then he realized that it was like, no, that literally is him, and it was so funny because yeah, it was him, but it was just such a funny thing to be like, "Oh, I have that shirt. Oh, wait, that's me." It was very humorous. It was very humorous. Anyways, my friend that I've been playing with online, I told him my aunt, and I think I said it before, my aunt texted us like poggers, and it's so funny, and then we learned that she has a TikTok, and it's so humorous to me that I'm just like, "Oh, honey, why do you have a TikTok?" It's like, okay. And it's such a funny thing to me because, like, I don't mind TikTok videos, but I'm not gonna sit and scroll through a bunch of videos, which is very odd because, like, I do know a few times I went and just go through particular people's Vines on Vine way back in the day, but I don't know. But yeah, and I feel bad because my aunt is planning a vacation, and I know her one son is not out of high school yet, but he's older in high school, and the other one is college my age, and then obviously her husband, and they're planning to go on a family vacation to like my granddad. But I mentioned this before, and I mentioned it every single time. I want to take my aunt on vacation where she doesn't have to think about anything. And you're like, okay, what do you mean? Well, so we were in high school, and my cousin, who's my age, he was in high school. I was not, I don't think, at this point. But what happened was that he was like, "Oh, I gotta go to bed," and he left. And I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'm gonna go, like, we'll go too." And my aunt's like, "Oh, I gotta go make him his lunch. I hope he likes sandwiches," or something like that. And like sandwiches and crackers or whatever. And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I gotta make him lunch." I'm like, "You pack his lunch? He's a senior in high school." She's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "You can do it one day because we hung out with her. We weren't hanging out with him. We were hanging out with her, and she was busy." And I'm like, "What has he done all day?" And she's like, "Oh, he was just home." I'm like, "He didn't. You couldn't have just been like, hey, make your lunch for tomorrow." Like that's a no-go. And so then one time we were doing something else, and it was like we were all like we weren't there for like dinner. So it wasn't late at this point. It was like lunch, do something. And she's like, "Oh, must have been maybe 4 or 5 or something." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I wish I could take a nap." I'm like, "Girl, take a nap. You know, like, we ain't judging. This family, we nap." She's like, "No, I can't nap. I gotta go out and buy some chicken." I'm like, "You gotta go out and buy chicken? Why you gotta go buy chicken right now?" She's like, because my boys don't want to have any more steak because they had it for, like, they had steak yesterday, but we bought it on sale, so we have extra steak, but now they don't want steak again. And I'm like, they don't want steak? Get over it. Like, what? If they're gonna be so cranky about it, go drive yourself, get yourself some other food, bring home at yourself. We were doing things. Like, it was important. Like, whatever we were doing, it was like, important. So, like, couldn't they've just, at this point, like, the person my age, like, he drives. He couldn't just go get some chicken himself. He couldn't pick up the pack. But also, like, he couldn't just suck it up and eat steak again. Like, for 2 nights in a row. Like, okay. And it was just such a funny thing because I'm just like, just take a nap. Just, okay. Okay. I don't know. so she's like, I'm just gonna go get some chicken. And I'm like, okay. It's such a weird thing. And this happens before with other things too. Like my cousin, when if he can't pick it up instantly, he gets really frustrated and give it up. I get it. But what happened is you have to follow through at some point. So he was trying to make something for like a food club he was doing, and he was like, oh, can you help me like spread out this dough? And I did one, and you needed 4 layers of dough, and I did one, and he couldn't do it. And he's like, no, it's supposed to be all in one go. And I'm like, no, it ain't gonna be it, and it isn't on top. The prettiest one can be on top, but we ain't putting this one on top, so I put it on the bottom and spread out them all out. Put the uglier ones in the middle because you don't see them. Put the prettiest one on top. Boom, handled. And it was late at this point, and like we want to go to bed, and so it was like 11 o'clock. We were just hanging out all day, and he needed to go to bed, and maybe it was like 10, but it was late. And he did, I think my cousin did, maybe he finished one, but I know I did 2 at this point. And I think right before he finished, he actually undid what he did, and my aunt had to do 2 of the 4 layers for him, and he went to bed. I'm like, I did 2, you did 0, you haven't done any of the insides, and now your aunt's gonna take over for you. You made this food club to make food. You just do it. You know, like why are you making, like, if this, like, you know, it was just like, just at some point you gotta do it. And I get it if you're really tired and you can't do it, but like, you made your mom do it and you didn't even put yours in there because you're like, oh, it doesn't look as good. Like, I am sorry you're cranky that I did a better job, but like, just do it. And we had to go home because we had to feed our dogs because it was already late, like really late. But they ate late, so it was fine. And we just had to go home. But oh my god, just do it, you know? That was very, very, very ridiculous. Because that's not, at a certain point, you just gotta do it. This also happened with different other things where it's like, no, it's not this, it's not this, and they're like kind of dismissing her, and I'm just like, she's right, and like, he'll figure it out that she's right, and we'll just drop it. But if he's right, he won't drop it until she openly admits it. But his admitting it is like by dropping it, and I'm just like, but yeah, anyways, with the Witcher, at this point I should be surprised. I just don't think I don't think I talked about it. At this point I shouldn't be surprised. But pretty much Geralt was fighting with Yennefer. I did say this. Okay, then that's fine. Did I? I don't know. Pretty much they were fighting. It was just, the whole book would be so much better if the women characters were actually written as characters and not a means and end to an end for Geralt. That being said, I don't know, and I think the guy pushed his own fantasies of certain things, like especially headstrong women that he can control, or even save, and it's very odd, for the sense of rape. Like Renfrey was just, that's her backstory. It's okay. It doesn't affect her anymore. Goodbye. Versus, like in the Beauty and the Beast story, what is it? A Grain of Truth. In that story, I actually didn't hate the story. I actually really kind of dug that guy. Like, it was kind of interesting, but not the point. It was mainly his cat. It was mainly his cat, Glutton. It kind of really sold me. I really liked the cat named Glutton, and the fact that he tried to impress women by biting through chair legs. That was very funny to me. very funny. The rest of it was bad. The ending was the worst part. It was super weak. But the fact that he might have raped someone when he was younger, and that's why he got turned into a beast, and the fact that that is the only time that kind of thing actually had consequence in the future, it would have been really interesting to have Renfrey mention having to sell herself, like sell her body, forced into prostitution, which is different than being a sex worker out of your own free will. And you know, blah blah, there's like there's layers to that. But it was being like the fact that she was raped when she was like 13, the fact that she had to go into prostitution, the fact that blah blah blah, prostitution to potentially even just live in the house that she lived in with the, was it 7 gnomes? Not 7 dwarves, but not the point. She's based on Snow White, that's not the point. The fact that, and like those kind of things, but the fact that it's like, oh, this just happened, and you kind of get over it, and like you just, it's not part of the plot, which is very ridiculous. And the idea that he doesn't write well, it's not good. And I do hope he is, I want to give him this much hope that he knows that what he said, the double standards, or like the, what is it, the cinematic, but not cinematic, but the like between The Witcher, like Geralt and Yennefer, the parallels between them works. There's just very much this parallel that it kind of connected in one line of the book so much to me. But I don't know if the writing is going to follow through with that or not, like in other, obviously the other books, because I think that would be really interesting, but I just don't think it would be a thing. And also, like, oh, for a main character, rape is very common, but then Yennefer is also supposed to be in the wrong, but Geralt openly, like the book openly admits that Geralt slowly did up her dress just to smell her hair. You know what I'm saying? And stared at her, the soap running down her invisible body to try to see her boobies. You know what I'm saying? You know, you get it.